What if a single company could reshape space transportation, reinvent the internet, power the next generation of artificial intelligence, and ultimately help make humanity a multiplanetary species? For most of human history, space exploration was the domain of governments. But in just over 2 decades, one private company changed everything. A company that started with almost no aerospace experience, survived 3 consecutive rocket failures, came within days of bankruptcy, and emerged as the most dominant force in the global space industry. Its name is SpaceX, and its ambitions stretch far beyond Earth. The story begins in 2002. Fresh off the sale of PayPal to eBay, entrepreneur Elon Musk walked away with a fortune. But he became obsessed with a far bigger goal: bringing humanity to Mars. Musk initially explored buying ballistic missiles from Russia. The meetings went poorly. The Russians reportedly demanded far more than he was willing to pay. Most people would have walked away. Musk did the opposite. He decided to build the rockets himself. While studying the aerospace industry, Musk arrived at a surprising conclusion. The raw materials in a rocket represented only a tiny fraction of its final cost. The rest came from layers of contractors and subcontractors. If SpaceX could manufacture more components in-house, it could dramatically reduce the cost of reaching orbit. That idea would become the foundation of the company. SpaceX's first rocket was called Falcon 1, a nod to the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. For 4 years, the company poured its resources into making it fly. Then came launch day in 2006. Failure. The rocket never reached orbit. A second attempt in 2007. Failure again. Then came a third launch in August 2008. Failure. 3 attempts, 3 disasters. The company was running out of money. SpaceX was on the brink of collapse, and it had enough resources left for only one more attempt. One final rocket remained. On September 28, 2008, Falcon 1 lifted off once more. And this time, it reached orbit. For the first time in history, a privately developed liquid-fueled rocket successfully reached orbit. SpaceX survived, but more importantly, it had proven that it belonged in the space industry. Just months after Falcon 1's breakthrough, NASA awarded SpaceX a contract worth $1.6 billion. The mission? Deliver cargo to the International Space Station. For SpaceX, it was validation. To fulfill the contract, the company needed a larger rocket. The solution was Falcon 9. The name was simple. Falcon 1 had 1 engine. Falcon 9 would have 9. And alongside it came a new spacecraft, Dragon. In 2010, Falcon 9 successfully completed its maiden flight. 2 years later, a Dragon spacecraft rode atop a Falcon 9 rocket into orbit. After a successful rendezvous and docking operation, history was made. When the International Space Station was designed, private spaceflight was not even part of the equation. Yet for the first time ever, a privately built spacecraft connected with the station. An achievement that would have sounded like science fiction just a decade earlier. The era of commercial spaceflight had officially begun. More cargo missions followed, and SpaceX's credibility skyrocketed. NASA's next challenge was human transportation. In 2014, the agency awarded SpaceX a contract worth $2.6 billion to transport astronauts to the space station. Then, in 2020, SpaceX achieved another historic milestone. A Crew Dragon spacecraft carried astronauts to the International Space Station. For the first time in history, a commercial company launched astronauts into orbit and delivered them safely to the station. It was a turning point not just for SpaceX, but for the entire aerospace industry. The United States no longer depended exclusively on Russian spacecraft for access to orbit. Private human spaceflight had truly arrived. For decades, rockets shared one unfortunate characteristic: they were disposable. Imagine throwing away a Boeing 777 after every flight. That was essentially how spaceflight worked. SpaceX believed there was a better way. Years of testing followed. Then came the breakthrough. By 2021, the company had completed a mission using both reused Falcon 9 rocket and reused Dragon spacecraft. Reusable rockets dramatically reduced launch costs. The result? Lower prices, more launches, and a competitive advantage few rivals could match. SpaceX was no longer merely participating in the launch market. It was redefining it. The economics of space had fundamentally changed. While rockets attracted headlines, another business was quietly taking shape. In 2019, SpaceX launched an entirely new venture, Starlink, a massive constellation of satellites designed to deliver internet access around the world, especially in regions where traditional infrastructure is difficult or impossible to build. Thousands of satellites entered orbit. Millions of customers signed up. And within just a few years, Starlink became one of the world's largest satellite internet providers. What began as a supporting business evolved into something much bigger: a recurring revenue engine, a powerful source of cash flow, and potentially the financial engine for SpaceX's most ambitious projects. NASA's ambitions were expanding as well. The agency wanted to return astronauts to the moon. In 2021, NASA selected SpaceX to build the lunar lander for the Artemis program. But Musk's ambitions extend far beyond the moon. His ultimate destination has always been Mars. At the center of that vision stands Starship, the largest and most powerful spacecraft SpaceX has ever built. First launched in 2023, Starship is designed to be fully reusable and capable of carrying massive payloads into space. NASA plans to use it for future lunar missions. Then came another historic milestone. In 2024, SpaceX played a key role in delivering the robotic lander Odysseus to the lunar surface. The mission marked the first successful commercial moon landing in history. By 2026, SpaceX made a surprising move. It acquired xAI, Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company and the developer of the Grok chatbot. The acquisition transformed SpaceX. Suddenly, the company had direct exposure to the high-stakes AI race. The opportunity is enormous. Artificial intelligence is one of the fastest-growing industries, but so are the costs. AI is expensive, extremely expensive. Training advanced AI systems requires staggering amounts of computing power and billions of dollars in infrastructure spending. SpaceX was no longer just a space company. It was becoming an AI company as well. As SpaceX headlines one of the largest public offerings in history, investors face a difficult question. How do you value a company like this? A rocket launch leader, a satellite internet giant, an AI contender, and potentially a future Mars transportation company. SpaceX is pursuing technologies that could reshape multiple industries. Supporters point to Starlink's explosive growth, SpaceX's dominance in launch services, and Musk's track record of turning seemingly impossible ideas into reality. Skeptics point to enormous spending requirements, execution risks, and projects that may take years or even decades to fully materialize. But both sides agree on one thing: there has never been a company quite like SpaceX. In 2008, SpaceX was one failed launch away from extinction. Today, it stands at the center of humanity's future in space. Its rockets launch more frequently than those of any competitor. Its satellites connect millions of people. Its spacecraft carry astronauts. And its ambitions continue to expand. Whether SpaceX ultimately becomes one of the greatest companies in history or collapses under the weight of its ambitions remains unknown. But one thing is already clear. It has changed the economics of space. It has changed expectations of what private industry can accomplish. And if its boldest ambitions succeed, it may one day change the trajectory of our species. Future generations may look back on this company not simply as a business, but as the organization that opened the path to another world.